Happy Memorial Day. Pastor Mark here. Wanted to come and bring you a little hope. One of the things I've been doing as part of my daily discipline this year, started it back on New Year's Day, but I've been going through the Bible in a year again, doing it chronologically. And so it's really fascinating how when you go through it chronologically, sometimes you kind of hop around in things, but it's the story of how God has worked for the redemption of humankind from creation all the way to Calvary and beyond, of course. And where we are right now going through the Bible in a year chronologically is it's really the transition from King David to King Solomon and the building of the temple. And I read a verse today that just it hit me in a way that I can't remember ever being hit by it again because of how it synced up with Memorial Day. As King David is getting ready to start making the provisions for the temple, he makes a statement. He says, "I don't want to offer God something that doesn't cost me anything." And that really, man, that really hit me this morning. How often is it that we make our offerings to God in such a way that it doesn't cost us anything? It's just a penance, if you will. Uh, it strikes me when I think about that, looking at it from the New Testament point of view. The Apostle Paul wrote that we are to make our lives, our very bodies, an act of worship and sacrifice. And that's a big call and a challenge, I think, for so many people to think about how frequently are we guilty of giving what doesn't cost us anything when God really wants us to be willing to give Him everything, and then, of course, we find we receive everything in return. So how often are we guilty of that mindset where we just want to give God something that doesn't cost us anything? For Memorial Day, I've really been thinking along these lines, going back to Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, where he talked about the soldiers who died in that battle gave their last full measure of devotion. And we remember and we commemorate and we celebrate freedom, but also in the light of that statement that we use almost to the point of it being a cliche where freedom isn't free. Friends, that's not a cliche, that's reality. Freedom isn't free. And we remember those men and women who paid that ultimate sacrifice. They were willing to put their lives, their very lives on the line to give that last full measure of devotion in such a way that helps to honor God and the people who they serve and they sacrifice for. So today, as we celebrate this Memorial Day and we commemorate the struggle of freedom, may we think back to what King David said when he made that statement that I don't want to offer God something that doesn't cost me anything, and how we can use our very lives as that sacrifice and that service that He's called and asked us to do as an act of worship for Him. And may we remember those who, like Lincoln said, gave that last full measure of devotion for the sake of freedom. I hope you are enjoying your freedom today. You're celebrating with friends and family, and you're finding ways to use your body and your very life as a way of worship and sacrifice for God. Have a great Memorial Day, and I look forward to seeing you soon.